Imagine this, brother. You grow up in one of the toughest neighborhoods in Sweden. There are fights everywhere, and nobody expects you to become anything big. There was chaos inside the house, chaos on the streets. Zlatan's childhood was shaped not by peace, but by survival instinct. And here's the strange part. People are surprised by his confidence today. But where he grew up, confidence wasn't a luxury, it was survival. Look, most kids go home after school. Zlatan was learning how to survive on the streets. That's what changed the story. In an interview, he once said, "I used to steal bicycles." And honestly, that sentence alone explains the kind of world Zlatan grew up in. But this is where everything started to change, because Zlatan got a football in his hands, and that ball wasn't just a ball, it was an escape route. Look, people think football saved Zlatan, but honestly, I think the opposite is true. Zlatan conquered football, because even at a young age, he was fearless. He wanted the ball, he wanted responsibility, and he never feared challenging people. And honestly, the reason people were drawn to Zlatan wasn't just talent. There was a dangerous level of confidence inside him. And maybe that is exactly what made him a legend. Zlatan never needed people to like him. Look, brother, the strangest thing about Zlatan's story is this. People thought he was arrogant, but underneath that arrogance, there was often a scared kid hiding. Because where he grew up, if people saw weakness in you, they could destroy you. That's why Zlatan always felt forced to look strong. And honestly, I think Zlatan's confidence scared people, because most people never learn to believe in themselves that much in their entire lives. Look, most footballers follow the rules. Zlatan rose by breaking them. And that is exactly why people became obsessed with him. But here's the dark side. The more people build you up, the more impatient they become to watch you fall. And Zlatan realized that very early. That's why Zlatan stopped explaining himself to people. His answer was always the same: step onto the field and prove it. And here's the interesting part, brother. Wherever Zlatan went, people talked about him, because he wasn't just playing football, he was taking over every place he entered. Ajax, Juventus, Inter, Barcelona, or PSG, Milan. It felt like the man wasn't changing football clubs, he was changing battlefields. And everywhere he went, he left a mark. But honestly, I think Zlatan's biggest problem wasn't his talent. It was being left alone with his ego, because the top can isolate a person from everyone else. Look, people laughed at his arrogant interviews, but honestly, I think Zlatan was constantly trying to motivate himself, because deep inside, that fighting kid was still there. And this is where Zlatan becomes different, brother, because most people want to be loved. Zlatan wanted people to respect him, and maybe that's why Zlatan never felt like an ordinary football player. It felt like he was writing his own legend in real time. Look, brother, most footballers slow down as they get older, but Zlatan seemed to become even more stubborn with age, because he wasn't just playing football, he was challenging people. Whenever people said, "He's finished," he came back. Injured, he came back. Criticized, he came back. And honestly, that was the scariest thing about Zlatan. He was never afraid of falling. And honestly, I don't think Zlatan's confidence was just ego. That confidence was the survival mechanism of a kid who grew up without anyone helping him. Look, people heard what Zlatan said, but I always saw something else. I saw a man constantly telling himself, "If you fall, you die." And that's exactly why people can't forget him, brother, because Zlatan was never perfect. He was real, harsh, uncontrollable. And maybe the biggest truth about Zlatan's story is this: he never became the person people wanted him to be. He always became the person he wanted to be. And at the end of the day, people talked about how many goals Zlatan scored. But honestly, the real point was never the goals, because Zlatan's story was bigger than football itself. Look, brother, some people win trophies, others become engraved into people's minds. Zlatan belonged to the second group, because when you watched him, you never saw someone ordinary. And honestly, even when people called him arrogant, they still couldn't take their eyes off him, because there was a dangerous confidence inside Zlatan. Because he didn't just play football, He forced the world to accept his personality, and not everyone can do that. Maybe he never won the World Cup, maybe he never won the Ballon d'Or, but Zlatan still became unforgettable, because people remember real characters, not perfect people. And maybe the biggest message Zlatan left us with is this, brother. You don't need people to love you. Sometimes believing in yourself is enough for the whole world. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video and subscribe.